start with this one question every single day when you wake up. Who can I help today? Every seller appointment, every buyer appointment I went into, I said, not only are we going to take great care of you, but we're going to build a shower truck for the homeless. And that's how we grew. It took off.
The number of transactions that you do annually with people that your events have touched, does it make up a large percentage of the people that do business with you?
Well, we have sold over 2,000 homes by now, and we've never bought a lead, and we've never made a cold call. So everyone,
I'm underpaid and I want a raise. Friends, I have heard this plenty of times in my life. And so I went on a search to find a definition of compensation. And here's what it said. Compensation is something you get for something you give. It's repayment for a contribution that you make that is both needed and useful. Think about that for a second, friends. It's something you get for something you give. Today's show is a special one. We are going to talk to somebody who's made an entire business practice out of giving. They do over $140 million in volume every single year in the DC metro area. And get this, she's donated over $1 million to helping people. I am talking about none other than Sheena Saydam. Friends, she is going to tell us exactly how to build a philanthropy-driven real estate business. It's going to warm your heart. You're going to laugh. You're going to cry. And here's my promise. In the end, I bet you make a donation somewhere. Sit back and buckle up. This is Sheena Saydam. And I am joined by a dear friend, Sheena Saydam. Sheena, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
I get excited about different shows, and I got to tell you, I haven't been excited about this one any more than any other. This is wildly exciting for me. I'm one of your biggest fans. Yeah, so let's just jump into this thing. I ask everyone the same question. How did you end up in the greatest industry in the world?
It really is. And that's a great question. And I love talking about this because I think a lot of people, it wasn't planned, but I am so grateful for how my life has turned out. And I discovered Keller Williams. So I grew up in the military. I lived pretty much all over the world while I was growing up, which is great training, by the way, to become a real estate agent.
Wait a second. On one hand, it's great training. On the other hand, it's got to be really hard to be a professional new kid.
You know, I think it's like you don't know any better. So you move every 6 months to 2 years when you're with the military, and you just learn how to make friends or you sink. So it's a survival thing, I guess.
Now, which one of your parents was service?
My dad was in the Army.
Thank you for his mission. When you look back on that time of your life, as you're roaming the planet, what's your biggest aha? What did you learn during that stayed with you?
I think the biggest thing, and I know we'll talk about this later, but I really feel so privileged. And I know a lot of times we think about financial wealth when we think about privilege. I didn't grow up with financial wealth necessarily, but I grew up with a family who was dedicated to giving back and sacrificing. My dad, of course, being in the military, being in the Army for 22 years, and my mom, everywhere she went, she volunteered. She was Volunteer of the Year. She discovered a problem. She was going to solve it. So that really helped shape the person I am today.
I love that. Okay, so you're traveling around, you're going through life. Where do you end up having high school?
In Maryland, about a few minutes from Baltimore, about an hour north of Washington, D.C.
Okay, and you graduate. Did you go on to college?
Yep. I got a political science degree with which you can do anything or nothing. Usually people go to law school after that. That's where a lot of people from my graduating class went. I failed the LSAT twice. You can't actually fail it, but essentially I failed it. And so then I went to go get an MBA. And I did that with a virtual program because my boyfriend, who turned into my husband, was in the Air Force. So
wow,
started moving around again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're moving around again. You're doing a master's online. You're doing business administration online, but you're not working yet. You're still a professional student.
Well, I was working a nonprofit. So yeah, making a very low wage. But yeah, so I was working. I was actually working two jobs. I was writing a political blog. That was like the additional work I was doing and working at nonprofits. But I just kept getting laid off at various nonprofits. I ended up moving back to the DC metro area, worked at another nonprofit, and decided I probably needed to give something else a try. So I went to get my master's in national security policy while I was lobbying for healthcare with the nonprofit where I worked called the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And it was 2009 when I graduated with another $50,000 in student loan debt. And then I lost my job.
Oh my gosh.
So I have this new degree. The plan was to be an interrogator, but I didn't have a security clearance and I needed money. So my husband suggested real estate. So that's where it started.
So when he suggests real estate, what's your first reaction?
Okay. I'm an optimist. I'm like, I just need to make enough money to survive. I need to make $40,000 and that'll be great.
Okay. So you get the license. Did you have success right off the bat?
Not really. It was the bottom of the market. It was a recession. And but what, you learn so much during those times. I didn't know it was a bad time to get in real estate. But I knew that the end of the day, I just needed people to trust me enough to buy homes from me. So I just hustled. I just told everybody I was in real estate and tried to get them to trust me.
And at some point, you get a copy of the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, which was written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan and Dave Jenks, may he rest in peace, which is the namesake for this show. When you read it, what ahas did you have?
Well, I didn't read the book until several years later. I was a real big mess. I had been in real estate for about 5, maybe 4 years, and I was at what Keller Williams calls an inflection point. I was doing so much business, I couldn't handle it. I didn't have an assistant, and I called my local Keller Williams office, and a gentleman named Brandon Green answered the phone.
By the way, if you don't know Brandon, that's one of the greatest people to ever answer the phone.
Yes.
His heart and his understanding of this industry, he's the greatest.
And his photo is in at least some copy of MREA. He's in my copy. So I went into his office and he opened up MREA and he showed me a photo, this graph that showed the difference between being entrepreneurial and intentional. And automatically I felt great shame. But I was also like, oh my God, I'm a big learner. If I could go back to grad school again, I would. I love learning. And I thought, wow, if this is what this company is about continued learning, and there's a playbook, I need to be here. So that's when I joined. He opened that book and that was it for me.
Okay, what happens next?
So joined Keller Williams. I went to a few classes on how to hire people, and I did start to hire administrative staff. And then I was invited into a women's empowerment event in Baltimore. So I don't know if you want me to get into that story now. Sure. Okay, so I was invited to a women's empowerment event in Baltimore being hosted by a woman who I'd run track with in high school and her husband, who is from a country called Cameroon in Africa. And they had been serving the homeless in Baltimore for several years. And what they had realized is that it was really difficult for a person experiencing homelessness to find a shower, a clean, safe shower. At the time, they were shuffling people into dilapidated schools. Women were getting accosted. There was no soap, no razors. And they had discovered this nonprofit in San Francisco that had built a shower truck for the homeless. And I thought, oh my God, I was already writing small checks to nonprofits. But I thought the possibility here of what we could do to help change what's happening. So every seller appointment, every buyer appointment I went into, I said, not only are we going to take great care of you, but we're going to build a shower truck for the homeless. And people were just like, oh my God. And that's how we grew. It took off.
It's so crazy. All right, gang, so sit back. You know what I found out the other day, Sheena? The people listen to this show either driving or on a treadmill. That's what I've been informed of via email. And so whether you're driving or on a treadmill, don't try to take notes. I'm going to take the notes. They come out every Thursday. If you're not signed up, you can sign up on MREAnotes.com. Sheena, you've now given away $1 million to help people. And it is humbling and inspiring. And when I say it, I feel it in my tummy, so I know it's the truth. And it's incredible. Tell me exactly how to grow my business via philanthropy.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't strategic in the beginning. And I think part of that is a lot of people get in this business who don't come from a lot of wealth. It's oh, money doesn't matter. But as Keller Williams says, money is good for the good it can do. So I think what we realized is the opportunity and the possibility that is available to grow a business and to change your community and the world if you start with this one question every single day when you wake up. And the question is not, for me, it's not, I need to find, where can I find a buyer? Where can I find a seller? My question is much bigger than that because we want to build a life of abundance. And my question is, who can I help today?
Tell me more about that. What does that mean?
So tactically, it means getting up in the morning and getting my kids off to school. And I'm very quickly going to social media and I'm looking to see what's happening in my community because there are Facebook groups, some that I created, some that others created. And I'm just looking to kind of see the trend. Are more people than I anticipated hungry right now? I'm in the Washington, D.C. area and a lot of people are losing their jobs. So how do we serve those people? So it's really just being, especially when you get to a place, well, I guess there wasn't from the beginning, but later on, I now live in a community where I don't see a lot of poverty. I have to push myself out to go see that. If that is the thing you want to change, right? One of the things I learned during COVID was loneliness was a real problem, and that has continued. And so how can I cure loneliness? So I just think, what can I do for my community this week to help get people out of loneliness? And that's what we build events around. That's what we build communications around. We have this event, come out, make some new friends. And that's just really, that's really it.
You say that's really it. You don't realize, maybe you do, that you're a genius because the question that you're asking is, how do I go better humanity in my community? And I think that's the first step. But then knowing how to take that question and turn it into something actionable and actually pull something off that in the end ends up bringing in real estate commissions is really foggy for people. So let's say tomorrow that I wake up and I'm going to stick with this loneliness idea, that I see this as a need in my community. What do I do next?
Okay, great question. So I understand that loneliness is an issue, particularly with women, let's just say in my community. And so I think, how can we get people out of their houses and into places where they are going to meet people and start to build relationships? Well, the first thing you kind of need to think about is what is keeping them in there? Because we can have an event, but the communication has to be effective. And so one of the things that I've learned over time is we have to be very clear in our communication about what this service or gift is for the community. So when we post on social media or we reach out to our network, we're going to say something like, we are having a speed friending event, a speed friending event. So it's like those dating events, except it's to meet your next friend or friends. So we're having this event. If you don't know anybody, that's okay. You know me. Here's a picture of me. So I'll be your friend. I'll sit next to you. So you have to make people feel safe. You have to give them clarity on what they should expect. Once they signed up, they still may not be committed. So we're going to keep following up. Hey, I checked out your Facebook. I know that, you're into these things. I cannot wait to meet you in person. And then they show up and it's not a transactional experience, right? And we talk about that all the time. We're trying to create an experience of hospitality, which means we're not just making sure that, they are checked in well, we're making sure that they feel so good, that there's a human connection when they come in the door. Oh my gosh, you're here. I'm so excited. They come in and we set up the event and I sit down and actually meet all of these people. And we pretty quickly go into kind of deeper conversations about what's going on in their lives because we've already kind of built that up in the beginning. So, and then we let everyone congregate at the end. And we've gotten all of their contact information so we can stay in touch. We can send them our marketing.
Where do you do an event like this? Is it at the office? Are you renting a restaurant? How are you doing it?
Usually restaurants, like a local restaurant, it's a great way to support local business. They're willing to do it.
Are you surprised or were you surprised of the number of people that came out for a loneliness event like this? Speed dating for friends. Was that a shock to you?
That was a shock to me. What was more shocking is people afterwards saying things like, you saved my life.
Oh my gosh.
Which was the same thing people said at the shower truck. And I did not anticipate that. I thought we were just giving showers. But people were like, I waited for you and I knew you'd be here. And so I decided I would wait another day.
What do you make of that, Sheena?
I think it's an incredible reminder that we as real estate agents have networks and we should be leveraging them for good. And we will build limitless businesses, because when you start out with this question of who can I help today, it can be very, very simple, right? And you go online and tell people what you did. And people, a lot of people get a little nervous about that. I don't want to show off. Well, let me tell you how much you're missing out on by not telling people. You're missing out on inspiring people. You're missing out on people writing and saying, God, I want to do that, and bringing them with you. And just building something a lot bigger. If you say, I want to find buyers and sellers today, it's a little bit more narrow, right? If you go out and see who I can help today, you're starting to build a community, a loving community with compassion, and people will remember that. And when it comes time for them to buy or sell a house, they're much more likely to remember you. And honestly, you've earned it.
I love this, by the way. So when someone comes to one of these events and they speed friend and they make a couple of buddies, how do I know, number one, that you're even in the real estate business and not just some angel that came to earth to help introduce me? And then number two, what's the follow-up look like?
Great questions. So how do they know I'm in real estate? I do have a 1-minute speaking, I have some remarks that I have. So I may stand on a chair, I am authentically myself. So whatever that looks like, if people are looking at this and going, I can't be Sheena, you don't need to be, and you should not be. You should be exactly who you are and just be the best version of yourself. They bring me to another level of humanness. So I stand up and I say, thank you all so much for coming. And I am completely transparent. I say, I am a real estate agent in this area. We've been serving the area for over 15 years, and we are committed to great real estate experiences, but also giving back to the community that supports us. So thank you for being here, because if you weren't here, this wouldn't be possible. And I'm just so grateful to know you all and to get connected with you.
So great. So the event happens. How do you then use social media to highlight what you did? And then now they're in their database. What does the database touch program look like?
So they do get added to our monthly market update. So they're going to get that. They'll know about the real estate. I will add on Facebook all of those people if they haven't already added me, so they can start to see who I am. Not just that I'm a real estate agent, but that I'm a real human, right? So I think that piece of it, I will follow up via message, via private message. There will be an email afterwards thanking them for coming. And we always have our next event planned, like, oh, the next thing is coming. So there's that. And when I go there, I just learn so much about what is needed. So sometimes, those messages aren't just a thank you. It's like, what you said there was really important, or I need to change, or maybe we could try something like that. Could you help us with that?
I love that. So how many events, and I get it, when you see it, you jump in to do it, but what's the goal each year as far as these sort of micro charity events?
My goal is to do 2 a month, but we probably do about 60 a year. I will caveat that by saying they're not all that complex. A lot of those events are just meetups. And literally, that's all you need to do to cure to cure loneliness, is just say, hey, everyone, we're having a coffee meetup. We're having a book club. I have several book clubs. We don't choose a book. That's the secret. You don't choose a book. You just let people share whatever they're reading. And it's hard to get a spot in my book club because it's like 25 people show up and everybody wants to share. It's 2 hours. It could go for 4. We're very nerdy. A lot of smart people. And they could talk forever. It brings up so much about humanity, what's going on in the world. And we all, we have a stack of books afterwards to choose from. So it's just like, that's another gift, is just continuing to learn.
Yeah, I'm listening to all this, and it doesn't sound like lead gen. Like, because I know there's some people out there that are like, wait a minute, she didn't even put on a headset. She didn't even set a timer for 2 hours. She doesn't even ring a bell when she gets an appointment. This feels so organic to me. So when you wake up in the morning, do you even think about that you're doing lead gen? Or do you just, talk me through that.
Yeah, I just wake up and go, okay, who am I going to help today? What's the possibility? What's the opportunity? I know that I will see it. I have so much faith in this. So I get up in the morning and I'm looking at social media, and a lot, by now I've been doing this for so long that people reach out to me. So I get led by others. I'll give you an example of something like, I think really if people just start going out there to their community with this in mind. They're going to attract the needs, right? Nonprofits reach out to me all the time. And people who work at nonprofits will often reach out to us about their real estate needs because we've consulted them. For example, we're business owners, so we can help with people's social media. We can help with understanding how these nonprofits can get connected to business owners who could, add to their philanthropic efforts. So we just have so much to give. Keller Williams teaches that. Like, could we teach them how to recruit select? That's not what we call it anymore, is it?
No, it's great, but there's no wrong name for it.
Yeah, but I think, getting up and reminding people that you're doing it and that you're leading with your heart. I think people just naturally, nobody wants to be sold to. There's a really great book, Catherine Brown, I think is her name, who wrote a short book. The cover is not attractive. And as much reading as I like to do, I do like attractive covers. It's not an attractive cover, but don't sleep on this one. It's called How Great Humans Sell. And it talks about the reasons why a lot of people are afraid to go out and sell. And part of the reason, and one of the biggest reasons, is people say, I don't want to bother anyone. Well, if you're just going out there and you're learning about your community and you're learning about humans, guess what? You're going to learn that somebody is getting a divorce and they're like, I just cannot live with this person anymore. I need to figure out what my home is worth, right? And so I think when you're authentically like helping people, like, I'm asking nothing in return. I'll help you get a sense of like what that would look like to sell. That's just a huge attractor, I guess, a magnet for people.
100%. As you think about social media, because you were using it business to business before anyone else was, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you got in early with social media, and you've done a bunch of different groups, whether it's been women's groups or community groups or all these different things. Walk me through why own a group, and then if I am going to start one, what should I be thinking about?
I think very great question. I started the group because I moved into a neighborhood that I wasn't familiar with. And I thought, I got to get connected with people. I need to like create a social base. And by then we were investing in the construction of the shower truck. We hadn't built it yet. And I knew that at some point the shower truck was going to come alive and we needed volunteers. So yes. I said, okay, could we leverage this community for all the things that the shower truck will need, and also help me find friends and build connections and community? And so that's why I built the community group that I did that now has almost 10,000 women in it.
What?
And I'm just, yeah.
Wait a second. How long did it take you to get 10,000 ladies?
Almost, maybe 9 years.
Okay. And the original intent was to just create community and meet people. How do you create community? How did it grow? What do you do to keep them coming? How do you keep them? Imagine that I want to start a group tomorrow and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, the first thing is you add all your friends. You're my friend. You owe me. So come here. So you add your friends and then you plan an event. That's the first thing. They need to know that you are a real person who really cares about them. Goes back to Adam Grant's give before taking, which I didn't read until last year. Someone was like, gosh, everything you're talking about is so Adam Grant, givers and takers. I never read it, but it's that philosophy of like, just give. And people will support your business if they align with your values. So first give. Always give. So have an event, make it free, and just bring people together so you can meet folks. When you're finished with the event, make sure you're taking some photos. You're putting it on the group so they can know that it's real. You need social proof that you're not a total weirdo, and that you really are having this event and other people don't think you're weird because they showed up. So just putting it on there so people start to realize, okay, this is a real person. Gosh, that event looked really fun. Maybe creating a little bit of FOMO. And as you're meeting people, again, I really want to connect. I'm not going to every person and saying, here's my business card. I don't talk about real estate unless they bring it up. What do you do for work? Then obviously I'm going to bring up real estate. And in those events, I will learn what people need. And they'll say, it would be great to have this. Like, they'll start that from the beginning. So one of the things was I learned that there was no book club and I love to read. I think really focusing on what you like to do too can make things easier. So starting that book club, all those events people sign up through on Eventbrite. So that's how we capture contact information. So we have these events where social proof that this is happening. And I am frequently going inside my Facebook group and I'm doing like a live video. And if you're like, oh, that's too much work, just put sunglasses on if you look gross. Like I do all the time. Like I never look like this. I went and got my hair done for you, Jason. Like is okay.
You look fantastic always, by the way, when we meet.
Well, I don't even know how to brush my hair. So I went and handled this. And so when I go on, I don't usually look like this. I am my authentic self. And I think people appreciate that. So yeah, looking for the needs that are there and creating something, and just doing exactly what you said you're going to do. And just constant, that's really it. You're just rinse and repeat. I can tell you one thing I recently did that I feel like everybody should copy. So some people are kind of making decisions about where they're going to shop based on values, whatever those may be. And so I thought, gosh, well, if you're not going to go to the store, how are you going to get things? I started to think, how can I help people get the things that they need? And so I thought, there are these Facebook groups, these Buy Nothing Facebook groups. Are you familiar with the Buy Nothing Facebook groups?
What is that movement?
They're pretty much everywhere now, and it goes by neighborhood, and it's basically a way to give your stuff away and for people to get free things. So they just put free stuff on there, anywhere from having guacamole, like people literally will give stuff like that away, or like a brand new TV. You can pretty much find anything on there, which is a great concept for all kinds of reasons. The issue is you have to wait for people to come pick the stuff up. There's all this coordination. So what I created to solve that other problem of where am I going to get stuff, Buy Nothing yard sales. So it's basically a yard sale where everything is free. And
that sounds awesome. How do you do it?
So super easy. All you do is create the marketing around it. Hey guys, we're doing a yard sale where everything is going to be free. I am looking for vendors. A vendor is just somebody who has stuff to give away. So these are most likely homeowners in your area, right? So it's these people. We want them to sign up, and then everybody else come and shop, come get some free stuff. And so we're just posting this everywhere. I do it at a local elementary school. No, I don't ask for permission because it's public property and we're not selling anything. So, I did get a staff shirt. My assistant was like, do you want me to put your name on it? I'm like, no, if the cops come, I am running. Like, bye. But in reality, no one's bothered us so far. I've done it 5 times. What I have learned from my community, I always learn when I go do these events, is that a lot of people are suffering from food insecurity right now. I have, with rising prices, I have also learned that Goodwill is a lot more expensive than it was last year.
Wow, that's a big aha.
I didn't know that. About 150 community members showed up for our first Buy Nothing yard sale. And every time I do it once a month, it's about that many people, and everything is gone in 1 hour. Everything is gone. So for my community, my neighbors, they get to get rid of all their stuff. It's so easy. I mean, people love it so much. They bring stuff and they're like, can I go home and bring more? Absolutely, right? So you're not throwing it in the dump. It's not, you're not having all this clutter. And again, we are securing the contact information for all of our vendors, and they get added to our market update. And then we can check in with them. Hey, are you thinking about selling a home in the next year or so? We've already given them something. We've provided this service and shown them that we really do care about the community. And maybe these people will never buy or sell a home with us, but at least we did good by them. So
that's unbelievable to me, because I'm sitting here and my first reaction is, you're setting all this stuff up for people that don't buy and sell real estate because they're in need. But what you just said, which is the vendors, these are the people that are in your neighborhood that are giving these things. They are the ones that are going to need to buy and sell real estate. So you're taking all these people and joining them around all these good deeds, and you've built this incredible community.
Yeah, together. I mean, together, the community. If they didn't show up, I know some of my ideas are a little crazy sometimes, but somebody always shows up. So
that's a great way to think about it. Sheena, I think this is genius. When you look up now, is there any way to track the number of transactions that you do annually with people that your events have touched? or that have ended up giving money with you. Does it make up a large percentage of the people that do business with you?
Well, we have sold over 2,000 homes by now, and we've never bought a lead, and we've never made a cold call. So everyone.
So yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, last question for me on Facebook. How often are you posting in that group to keep everybody active? And what else are you doing to be the owner of that group?
Mm-hmm. So I have brought in an assistant to post. We now have so many events, so they are posting on a regular basis, all those events. So that is probably happening 3 or 4 times a week. They are posting. I probably get in there with my face, either a picture, or I do share about real estate. Hey guys, we have this house available, or this house is off market, or we just sold this. Thank you so much. Or like just recently, I got it. Our real estate team got an award for supporting an organization that is trying to alleviate homelessness. We've been supporting them for 5 years. And I posted in the group and I said, thank you. And this is our award. This is our award because we couldn't do this without you. So thank you and congratulations. So that sort of thing, I'm probably posting once or twice a week. So I would say you're posting at least once a day in that group. And then you're seeing them in person 4 times a month.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Sheena, I want to switch gears completely. I want to take you back to ancient Athens, where a philosopher named Epicurus, he built a villa, and that villa had a garden. And he invited all of his best friends over to just talk about life in the garden. Will you join me in my garden?
Yes.
As you go through all of the people you can help and all of the things that are in need, do you ever wake up and think it's all too big? Meaning, like, everywhere I look, there seems to be a need, and I'm only one person. Does that ever occur to you?
Only one time has that ever occurred to me, actually.
What made that one time unique?
So our real estate team helped build a school for girls in Kenya, in a very rural part of Kenya. And so I went to Kenya in January to go help open the school. And I had the opportunity to go visit a place called Kakuma Refugee Camp, where 200,000 people live in what I would describe as hell on earth. There's just dry earth all around. They're completely dependent on other countries to bring in water and to provide maize. They cannot have any cattle because the local community, that's what they do, and they don't want there to be any war. And so you have these people who have left, these refugees have walked hundreds of miles from their countries, you know, having left very, very violent countries to come here and have their lives saved. And I met people who've lived there for 15 years, and there's a lot of hopelessness there. And I went, oh my God, there's nothing I cannot solve this problem. But I had a friend with me who's all about small steps, small solutions. And she said, you know what we can do? What we can do is set up a sewing class for 10 women at a time, where they come and learn how to sew, and they can make things and they can sell them. And so that's what we did. For a few $1,000s, we have begun to make a change in this place where I thought there was no hope.
That's so good. So now, you know, friends, everyone listening to this show has read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, and you know that it has a pyramid and a way of thinking. And it starts at the bottom with thinking a million, which is life is inside to the outside, so I'm going to start thinking the right way. And at the very top of the pyramid, and I think this one goes missed a lot, it says give $1 million. And there's so few people that do. Sheena, as you stand on the precipice of giving $1 million, what's in front of you? What's next?
That is a great question I have not answered yet. But Jay Papasan told me just sit in peace, sit in quiet, stop moving so much, which I thought was a great answer, and just wait for these things to arrive. So I honestly don't know. And by the way, thanks to Keller Williams and MREA, I never would have thought like that ought to be a goal if it weren't for you all. So thank you for changing my life in so many ways.
It's incredible to me. As you think back on the $1 million that you gave, you just recanted an incredible story about how $2,000 changed. Is there another story that comes to your mind on this journey of giving away $1 million?
Yeah. So, you know, I think as we're growing in our leadership, there are a lot of ways that we can learn. We can read books. We can learn from others. For me, it was working with homeless people experiencing homelessness in Baltimore. So what happened was I was down at the shower truck one day volunteering, and I was cleaning one of the showers. That's what you have to do after someone takes a shower. We clean after everyone. So I was cleaning and I heard loud commotion, somebody yelling at somebody else. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I go down and there is one of the clients, is who we called them, clients who came and was screaming with all kinds of terrible language at one of the volunteers. And I was like, my normal high D, I mean, I may not come off as a high D on this, but I am a high D. I was ready to respond in kind. And, but you know what? I pulled myself down a little. I said, she's just trying to help. And he said something awful back to me and said, if you weren't here, somebody else would be here. And I looked up at this shower truck that I helped build with my logo on it. And I wanted to say to him, oh, actually, this shower truck wouldn't be here if it weren't for me and my friends. But I paused. I did the pause and I went, oh, he actually slept on the ground last night and he probably hasn't eaten in 3 days. I came from a soft bed, a warm bed, a loving household. And I feel so good. I ate this morning. And I went, I understand. I am so sorry for what you're going through. Can I walk you to your shower? And in that moment, and he did, and he came out and he was thrilled. I grew 4 hearts that day. I grew as a person. I think the way I coached my team, everything changed. I think at that moment, I started to, I think the ego, right, came down, and I realized that we have no idea, as they say, what people are going through. So I think I try to lead with that every day. And I'm definitely not perfect, but I changed a lot that day.
You know what? Gang, you can't tell. I'm tearing up over here. You know why I'm so excited about this, Sheena? I am excited because I think that in the end, if there is any sort of judgment that happens, I'm going to get extra points for just knowing you. Because I'm walking in there, and the first thing I'm saying is, I know Sheena Saydam. And I think that's going to help me. I love your heart. I think you're changing the world. And I love the fact that you do it through real estate. So I got one final question for you. Had you not found the greatest industry in the world, do you think you would have been able to make the impact that you're making?
No, absolutely 100% not. I know exactly where I would be. I would be in a cubicle, making very little money, writing a little check maybe now and then, but absolutely not. But with this business, I am able to leverage all the people I meet through real estate, not only for them to donate, but for them to come and show up for volunteer events. We couldn't have built the shower truck without this business that I built. We built. We couldn't have built the school. I have clients who are like, here's $1,000. I have a lot more stories like that of people reaching out saying, of course I did that for this refugee family. I saw you guys do it. And that is I wouldn't have the exposure for this vision without real estate. It's everything.
There it is. Sheena, thank you for your heart and thank you for everything you're doing for the industry.
Thank you.
They say if you ask the wrong question, you're always going to get the wrong answer. She doesn't wake up in the morning and ask the question, who can I talk to about selling real estate? And by the way, if you do, that's fine, but that wouldn't be authentic to Sheena. She wakes up in the morning and she thinks, who can I help today? Not just in real estate, but in any way possible. And that question has led her to answers all over the world, whether it's volunteering in Africa and building sewing classes, or it's building the shower truck in Baltimore, or it's simply helping people come out of their house to meet others. Imagine that, an event simply to make friends. You know what she stumbled onto? A simple idea. That people, given the opportunity to do a good thing, become better people. And that's what she's building into the community. She makes it easy for all the people that have resources to give it. And she makes it easy for the people that need resources to come and receive them in a respectful way. You see, Sheena is a genius and she's super powerful human because she taps into the human element at its most basic level, which is this life isn't just about me. It's about everyone who I come in contact with. I read a book recently called The Coffee Bean, and it tells the story simply of a pot of boiling water. And it says that the carrot goes in and it boils for so long that it becomes soft and squishy. And there are people like that. And the egg goes in and it boils and it becomes so hard on the inside that it matches its outside. And there are people like that. But then there's this thing called a coffee bean that goes in. And as it boils, it turns that water into coffee, which is infinitely better than the way that it found it. You see, Sheena's a coffee bean. There's so few of them in the world that are as focused as she is. My hope for you, where's the pot of boiling water that you can be the coffee bean in today? Where can you make a difference? And friends, who can you help today? Go forth and do likewise.